UN warns of worrying humanitarian situation in Democratic Republic of the Congo. Trump aid freezes stirs chaos before it is blocked in court. Good afternoon and salam Malaysia Madani. Thanks for joining us. My name is Daryl Baptist and you're watching World Today. The United Nations and other aid agencies revealed that dead bodies were scattered in the streets of Goma and hospitals were overwhelmed with patients with gunshot and shrapnel wounds. A day after Rwanda-backed rebels marched into the biggest city in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. The M23 rebels, which the UN said are backed by Rwanda, entered Goma on Monday in a major escalation of a 3-decade conflict. They were continuing to face pockets of resistance from the army and their backers. Jens Lerky, spokesperson for the UN Humanitarian Office, or OCHA, said that on Tuesday, small arms fires and mortar fire continued in the streets where many dead bodies could be seen.
The humanitarian situation in and around Goma remains extremely worrying. And again this morning, our colleagues in the Democratic Republic of the Congo report heavy small arms fire and mortar fire across the city and the presence of many dead bodies in the streets. We have reports of rapes committed by fighters, looting of property, including of a humanitarian warehouse, and humanitarian and health facilities being hit.
The fighting has also been accompanied by a surge in looting, with both the ICRC and the World Food Programme, or WFP, reporting that medical and food supplies had been stolen. Meanwhile, more than 24 people were killed and hundreds of others were injured during clashes between M23 rebels and government forces in Congo. Civil society members and non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, working in Goma said the clashes since Monday left at least 25 people dead and 375 others injured. The DRC government said Rwandan forces were present in Goma and vowed to secure the city, where thousands of people have been displaced due to the rebel offensive. Local residents said the public port of Goma was under attack by M23, while the provincial airport of Goma was still under the control of the Congolese army. The city of Goma appears to be controlled by both rebels and government forces, they added. On Monday, M23 rebels, who are allegedly backed by Kigali, claimed that they took over Goma, while Kinshasa claimed the presence of Rwanda forces in the city. While Kigali denies it backs rebels, officials in Rwanda claim that 5 of its citizens were also killed in alleged cross-border fire from Congo. The Rwandan army also said more than 120 Congolese soldiers have been disarmed near Gisemi, Rwanda, amid clashes with M23 rebels. Palestinian ambassador to Malaysia, Walid Abu Ali, reiterated that the ceasefire agreement in Gaza must be the first step towards permanent end to the suffering of Palestinians in the enclave. Walid said the international community must also make every effort to ensure that the ceasefire deal is upheld, as it can serve as the foundation for an enduring truce that can pave the way for peace for long-suffering civilian populations in Gaza.
First of all, this ceasefire has been an urgent need for Palestinians since the 7th of October. The Palestinian leadership, together with the international community, from day one, we've been doing our maximum to have a ceasefire, to stop this Israeli genocide, to stop this Israeli massacre against our Palestinian people. We do hope that this ceasefire become permanent and put an end to the Palestinian suffering.
Walid said this when met after appearing as a guest in the Bicara narrative program on TV1 at Angkasa Media City last night. Over in Russia, President Vladimir Putin said that talks with Ukraine were possible, but not with its president Volodymyr Zelensky, whom he deemed illegitimate. Russia claims Zelensky has lost legal power because his term in office expires in May 2024, and no elections were held after that. Putin also claimed that Zelensky no longer has the legal authority to sign official documents. He added, if Ukraine is ready to compromise, anyone suitable can lead the negotiations. However, he insisted that all documents must be signed by a legally recognized party. He suggested that the chairman of the Ukrainian parliament carry out his responsibilities according to the constitution. But until now, Putin said Russia has not seen any signs of readiness from the Ukrainian side. Ukraine maintains that Zelensky remains the legitimate president due to martial law in force since the Russian invasion in February 2022. Another tragedy took place when several people were feared dead and many more injured in a stampede earlier today in northern India's Prayagraj city. This is as tens of thousands of Hindus rushed to take a holy bath in the river at the massive Mahakambh festival. Distressed families lined up outside a makeshift hospital inquiring about their missing relatives. Rescuers were helping the injured and police tried to manage the crowds. People's belongings like clothes, blankets and backpacks were strewn around the scene of the stampede. It was not immediately clear what triggered the panic or how many people had been hurt. Some local news websites said 10 people had died. Wednesday was a sacred day during the 6-week festival. Authorities were expecting a record 100 million devotees to engage in a ritual bath at the confluence of the Ganges, the Yamuna and the mythical Saraswati rivers. The ritualistic bathing's main draw are thousands of Hindu ascetics who arrive in massive processions towards the confluence to take a holy dip in the waters. An Airbus plane belonging to South Korean carrier Air Busan caught fire yesterday at Gimhae International Airport in the country's south while preparing for departure to Hong Kong. The fire authorities in Busan said all 169 passengers and 7 crew members were evacuated, with one person with a minor injury taken to hospital. According to the fire authorities, the Air Busan flight bound for Hong Kong caught fire at its tail section at approximately 10:30 p.m. local time, moments before departure. Firefighters said the flames appeared to have spread to the fuselage. Budget airline Air Busan is part of South Korea's Asiana Airlines, which in December was acquired by Korean Air. According to Flight Radar 24 tracking data, the plane is an Airbus A321 model. It is a month since the deadliest air disaster on South Korean soil when a Jeju airplane coming from Bangkok crashed on Muan Airport's runway as it made an emergency belly landing, killing all but 2 of the 181 people and crew members on board. 5 people have died and several others have been injured as a result of landslides and flooding caused by heavy rainfall across Indonesia. The National Disaster Management Agency, also known as BNPB, spokesperson reported emergency response teams had been deployed to the affected regions to assist local communities and search and rescue efforts. On the 26th of January, a landslide in Mamuju, West Sulawesi, resulted in 4 fatalities and left at least 4 others injured after torrential rainfall caused the ground to collapse. BNPB noted that search operations were temporarily suspended due to adverse weather and hazardous terrain, which heightened the risk of further landslides. Meanwhile, a separate landslide in Tasik Malaya, West Java, on the same day killed 1 person, severely damaged a house and left 3 others at risk of collapse. Severe flooding in South Kalimantan's Tapin district on 25th January also affected 179 houses, with water levels ranging from 5 to 20 centimeters, although the waters are now receding. A recent study released yesterday by a team of scientists from the US and Europe indicates that climate change has heightened the risk of the devastating fires that swept through Los Angeles this month, resulting in the deaths of at least 28 individuals and causing damage to or destruction of nearly 16,000 buildings. A research initiative by World Weather Attribution, comprising scientists from various institutions, has examined the influence of human-induced climate change on extreme weather phenomena. The study revealed that climate change has increased the likelihood of fires by 35%. The scientists also said the low rainfall experienced by the Los Angeles area during October to December, which is traditionally the start of the rainy season in California, is now 2.4 times more likely. Next, Serbian Prime Minister resigns after months of anti-corruption protests. President Donald Trump's White House ordered a pause in all federal grants and loans starting on Tuesday. The sweeping decision could disrupt education, healthcare and poverty programs, housing assistance, disaster relief and a host of other initiatives. The freeze followed Trump's suspension of foreign aid last week, a move that began cutting off the supply of life-saving medicines to countries depending on U.S. development assistance. Georgetown University law professor Stephen Vladek said Trump's move to freeze federal funding runs afoul of Congress's legislative control of public funding.
So I think the organizing idea here is that the White House doesn't want the federal government to be spending money to support programs to which President Trump is opposed. And the problem with that is that that's not his call. Under the Constitution, the way the appropriations power works is it belongs to Congress, not the president. If the president could decide not to spend whatever money he doesn't want to spend, then there's not much point in having a Congress at that point.
The Office of Management and Budget said that grants and loans would be put on hold while the administration ensures they are aligned with the Republican president's priorities. A federal judge temporarily blocked a push from President Trump to pause federal funding. The order from U.S. District Judge Lauren L. Ali Khan came minutes before the funding freeze was scheduled to go into effect on Tuesday afternoon. The administrative stay, prompted by a lawsuit brought by non-profit groups that receive federal funds, lasts until Monday afternoon and applies only to existing programs. The Trump administration plan plunged the U.S. government and states and organizations that rely on federal funding into panic and confusion. Administration officials said the decision to halt loans and grants was necessary to ensure that spending complies with Trump's recent blitz of executive orders. The president wants to increase fossil fuel production, remove remove protections for transgender people, and end diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. In another development, Google Maps will change the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America once it is officially updated in the US Geographic Names System. The change will be visible in the US, but the name will remain Gulf of Mexico in Mexico. Outside of the two countries, users will see both names on Google Maps. The Trump administration's Interior Department said it had officially changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and the Alaskan peak Denali, the tallest mountain in North America, to Mount McKinley. President Donald Trump ordered the name changes as part of a flurry of executive actions hours after taking office on January 20th, making good on a campaign promise. And now our story on Serbian Prime Minister Milos Vučević, who resigned on Tuesday following months of mass demonstrations over the fatal collapse of a train station roof in November. The Balkan country has been rocked by regular protests in the wake of the deadly disaster at the train station in the northern city of Novi Sad that killed 15 people following extensive renovations at the facility. The collapse has ignited long-standing anger across Serbia over corruption and the alleged lack of oversight on construction projects. Before taking up an earlier government post in Belgrade, Vučević had served as mayor of Novi Sad from 2012 to 2022, when renovations began at the train station. The Prime Minister has been in office for less than a year. More than a dozen people have been charged in connection with the Novi Sad accident, including former Transport Minister Goran Vesic, who resigned days after it occurred. The Prime Minister's announcement came as thousands of protesters ended a 24-hour blockade at a major traffic intersection in Belgrade, the latest in a series of massive rallies held across the country. The government has since released some documents on the roof collapse, but experts from the Faculty of Civil Engineering in Belgrade say they are incomplete. From one premier to the next, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is currently under judicial investigation due to her government's unexpected decision to release a Libyan police officer who is sought by the International Criminal Court, or ICC. Osama al-Masri Najim was released last week after being detained a few days earlier under a warrant of arrest issued by the International Criminal Court for alleged crimes against humanity. The ICC demanded an explanation, saying it had not been consulted over the decision. Meloni said in a message posted on social media that she was suspected by prosecutors of embezzlement and aiding and abetting a crime in connection with the case. She's under no obligation to resign, and being placed under investigation in Italy does not imply guilt, nor mean that formal charges will necessarily follow. Meloni added the Justice Minister, Carlo Nordio, Interior Minister, Matteo Piantedosi, and the Cabinet Under-Secretary for Intelligence Matters, Alfredo Mantovano, have also been placed under investigation. In light of the Lunar New Year, Moscow started Chinese New Year celebrations on Tuesday with traditional lion and dragon dances and the opening of a Chinese-themed market in the center of the Russian capital. The Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova and the Chinese ambassador to Russia, Zhang Hanhui, attended the opening ceremony. The market in central Moscow was decorated with traditional Chinese red lanterns, dragons, figures, and various symbols celebrating ties between Russia and China. Despite the fact that the Chinese population in Moscow is relatively small, the interest in China and Chinese culture is on the rise rise in Russia. It comes at a time when the relationship between Russia and the West has hit its lowest point over the war in Ukraine, referred to by Russia as a special military operation. In sports, Aaron and Kai Sing, Sin Yi and Carmen power into second round of Thailand Masters. Reigning 2024 World Junior Champions Aaron Thai and Kang Kai Sin advanced to the second round of the Thailand Masters after defeating the host pair Pongsakorn Thongkham and Wongsathorn Thongkham yesterday. In the match held at Nimibutur Arena, Bangkok, Aaron and Kai Sin secured a straight sets victory 21-16, 21-18 in 31 minutes. The world number 58 pair will face Indonesia's Muhammad Shohibul Fikri and Daniel Martin, who triumphed over India's K. Viraj and K. Viplav 21-13, 21-10 for a spot in the quarter-finals. Meanwhile, Malaysia's young women's doubles pair, Ong Sin Tee and Carmen Ting, advanced to the second round after defeating India's S. Kavi Priya and S. Simran 21-17, 21-14. Ong and Carmen will face the winners of the first round clash between Taiwan's Lin Xiaomin and Wang Yu Kiao, and Thailand's Nanchananporn Rungpibun Supit and Sirada Rungpibun Supit. On to the world of football. Olympique Lyonnais will appoint Paulo Fonseca as their next head coach, according to media reports. The French Ligue 1 club sacked Pierre Sage last Tuesday after a winless run of 5 matches across all competitions. Are 6th in the French top flight after managing just 1 win in their last 5 league games. They were also knocked out of the French Cup following a defeat by French 5th-tier club Bourgoin-Jallieu in the round of 32. Fonseca was sacked by AC Milan in December after only 6 months on the job, after an inconsistent run of form left the club 8th in Italy's top football league. The Portuguese has a history in French football after spending 2 seasons at French Ligue 1 side Lille. He also coached Roma and previously won the Super Cup with Porto in 2013. The Portuguese Cup with Braga in 2015 to 2016, as well as 3 consecutive Ukrainian Premier League titles with Shakhtar Donetsk between 2017 and 2019. Lyon, which spent €220 million on players while Sage was in charge, believes that Fonseca will be able to add defensive stability to the team and make it more competitive against the top 4 League One teams. The club's ambition is to qualify for the Champions League on a regular basis and to challenge Paris Saint-Germain's supremacy. In basketball, the Miami Heat suspended disgruntled forward Jimmy Butler indefinitely after he walked out of a team shoot around Monday. It marks the 3rd time the Heat have suspended Butler this month, starting with a 7-game ban for conduct detrimental to the team and another 2-game disciplinary move for missing a team flight to Milwaukee last week. The latest suspension, which will last a minimum of 5 games, comes after Butler reportedly was told that he would be playing in a reserve role moving forward. The team is planning to keep Haywood Highsmith in a starting role. Heat head coach Eric Spoelstra said the reasoning given for Butler's first suspension was that through his actions and statements, he has shown he no longer wants to be part of the team. The Heat said at the time they would begin listening to offers for the disgruntled star forward. The National Basketball Players Association said it would appeal Butler's 7-game ban, though he wound up serving the entire suspension. Butler returned 17th of January and played in 3 Heat home games before missing the flight to Milwaukee. Including time missed for an illness at the end of December, Butler has not played in any of Miami's last 12 road games. Tiger Woods and his Jupiter Links Golf Club team prevailed in overtime 4-3 over Rory McIlroy's Boston Common Golf squad in the best match yet of the inaugural TGL season. The indoor golf contest was tight throughout, but Woods' teammates Tom Kim and Kevin Kisner came up with clutch shots in overtime to deliver the win. TGL co-founders Woods and McIlroy said the compelling match was exactly what they had in mind when they first hatched the idea of the league, which plays its matches in a custom-built arena in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. McIlroy, who was making his TGL debut alongside Keegan Bradley and Adam Scott, praised Woods, the best player of his generation, who bounced back from a 12-1 loss against the Los Angeles Golf Club earlier this month. Woods' eventful round included a shot clock violation, a clutch 7-foot putt on the 13th hole, and ultimately victory. TGL's debut drew nearly 1 million viewers on ESPN, and McIlroy said he hopes the league, which utilizes a 5-story simulator screen as well as an actual tech-infused green, can help attract a new generation of fans to the sport. The 15-match regular season runs through 4th March, followed by the playoffs later that month.
Salam sejahtera dan salam Malaysia Madani. Saya Tioni Ching ingin mengucapkan Selamat Tahun Baharu Cina kepada seluruh rakyat Malaysia, khususnya kepada masyarakat Tionghoa yang merayakannya. Tahun 2025 ini pastinya membawa harapan baharu kepada saya dan warga kerja Kementerian Komunikasi untuk terus sama-sama bekerja keras bagi memastikan rakyat Malaysia menjadi masyarakat madani yang berinformasi, berhubung, berdaya maju dan kreatif. Diharapkan perayaan kali ini membawa perpaduan, keharmonian, kemakmuran untuk semua warga Malaysia. Kongsi-kongsi!
Well, that was a lovely message. Thank you for that. That concludes today's edition of World Today. In our top story, UN warns of worrying humanitarian situation in Democratic Republic of the Congo. Till then, my name is Daryl Baptist. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. We here at RTM would like to wish all fellow Malaysians Se She Taiping Yi Nian Sheng Shi, which translates to wishing you 4 seasons of peace and a flourishing year ahead. Thank you for watching and 新年快乐!